5 versions of Taiwan's one country, two systems. The one country, two systems proposal has not been popular in Taiwan. Today, we are not talking about one country, but focusing on two systems. After watching this one video, one can draw one conclusion. That is, Taiwan is successfully opposing two systems. It is true that there will be no more one country, two systems for Taiwan. Now we can sit down and see how the two systems are gone. Xi Jinping's version of two systems in 1981 was the most favorable version of two systems given to Taiwan by the mainland. Today we will not discuss the historical development, but only the literal meaning. When Xi Jinping proposed the one country, two systems formula, the mainland granted Taiwan a political status of almost complete substantive independence. This included a special administrative region system, a high degree of autonomy, retention of its entire military, full substantive diplomatic rights, and no political loss for Taiwan except the name of a country, in exchange for a number of national leadership positions. These 9 points are excerpted below: special administrative regions, a high degree of autonomy, retention of the military, and unchanged economic and cultural relations with foreign governments. In 1983, when Deng Xiaoping modified the One Country, Two Systems program, he emphasized only the unitary state and the limitation of the size of the army. The details were even clearer. Taiwan was to have more rights than other provinces, municipalities, and autonomous regions, and the final say was to remain in Taiwan. This also gave Taiwan a political status of full substantive autonomy. By 1997, Hong Kong's One Country, Two Systems model was indeed an attractive model for Taiwan. Therefore, it can also be listed as a model for Taiwan's two systems. Its contents are listed below. Full administrative independence. Full economic independence. Full legislative power. Full judicial power. May apply for central financial aid. Partial diplomatic power. No military power. In this version, the main thing is to take away the military power. However, this does not mean that Taiwan will lose its military power completely. In 2020, the central government has compressed the space for opposition to the mainland by passing the Hong Kong Security Council, an institution. And through the national security law, it has de facto limited Hong Kong's diplomatic power a bit. The essence of this two systems version is as follows. No military power, there was none originally, no contraction was created. Limited diplomatic power, originally had almost full diplomatic power. Legislative power intact and unrestricted, national security legislation was originally intended to be Hong Kong's responsibility, and it was only because Hong Kong was unable to complete it that the central authorities carried out the process on its behalf, which should not be seen as a restriction on legislative power. Full retention of final adjudication power, limiting the power of British judges, does not mean limiting the power of final adjudication. Full power of economic independence. Full executive power. In essence, this means that the national security law has effectively limited some of Hong Kong's diplomatic powers. This trend suggests that Taiwan's diplomatic powers will also be limited. However, this version may never have reached the status of Taiwan's two systems model. This is because Yi Chi-kuan had already predicted in 2019 that Taiwan might lose its substantive two-system preferences. If Yi's prediction is true, then this version never achieved the status of Taiwan's two-system model. On August 10, 2022, the Chinese central government issued a white paper on the Taiwan issue. This white paper officially ended the substantial preferential treatment of the two systems for Taiwan. Its main points are very succinct. They include the fact that Taiwan has no military power, no diplomatic power, and that Taiwan senior officials must be subject to central supervision. In short, Taiwan still has the nominal two systems, but the substantive meaning has been completely stripped away. This is Xi Jinping's public declaration of his policy toward Taiwan. Xi Jinping cannot retreat from the position that has already been made public. The room for maneuver that Taiwan can fight for has almost completely disappeared. At the same time, with this edition of the White Paper, China has clearly and publicly announced the possibility of armed confrontation against the United States.